Into every generation, podcasters are born. Two guys in all the world, chosen ones. They alone will wield the strength and skill to discuss the vampires, demons, and the forces of darkness, to lament the spread of their evil and the swell of their number. This is the Untitled Buffy Project.
In the first two-parter of Season 4, Faith returns to threaten Buffy by becoming Buffy in the ultimate Freaky Friday moment. The first part, This Year's Girl, was written by Douglas Petrie and directed by Michael Gershman. The second part, Who Are You, was written and directed by Joss Whedon.
This week we have a very special double episode. This Year's Girl and Who Are You comprise a to-be-continued story, and we decided we just wanted to do this as one retrospective look.
We're gonna do it in one.
Because it's really one story. Why would we break it up?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about This Year's Girl, and I've expressed already that it's not my favorite episode. And you gotta talk about these together. I mean, it's crazy not to. Have we had a two-parter in the series?
This is the first two-parter in this season. I don't know if there were two-parters before this, but there is another one in this season.
The final episodes, the finales of Season 2 and Season 3 were two-parters, I think.
Okay. I mean, for all intents and purposes, often episodes kind of blend together anyway. It's not like it's a very episodic show, but this was a case where it was like, oh, giant cliffhanger at the end.
I think they had to be continued.
It's your kids, Marty. It was like one of those.
What did they become, like or something? We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Eliza Dushku.
It's so nice to have her back.
I didn't miss her that much.
I like her. I like her doing Joss characters a lot. And if you eventually get to watch Dollhouse, she plays a great character in that show.
I'm not gonna lie. This girl that I dated back in college tried to get me to watch Dollhouse, and I maybe got through half of the first episode, and I was like, this isn't for me.
It's probably because you watched the first episode.
Probably. We've talked about this, haven't we?
Joss isn't good at beginnings.
First episode of Buffy is okay, but it's not great. And for a whole first season of Buffy is just a train wreck. Total train wreck. They picked it up again in Season 2, and thank God they got much better. But anyway. So Faith is back. Well, she's not back. She's dreaming. She's in her coma dreaming. That's where we open.
Right.
Her room is weird for a hospital room. It's like all dark. And the bed is teeny tiny. I was just like, what is going on with this?
That's the room for slayers.
Right. Exactly.
They reserve it for slayers and comas.
Right. Well, so we get teased with something, and I'm cheating a little bit because I have the Wikipedia open and I didn't actually remember this line, but she's the very first scene is Faith and Buffy in a dream, like making a bed.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about someone coming.
Little sister. Little sister is coming.
Little sister's coming. So I'd forgotten about that, and it was not in my notes, so I'll own up to that.
It is not at all related to BioShock.
Yeah. Man, if they had the big walking guys in Buffy, geez.
She might actually have a formidable enemy.
Yeah, I mean, Buffy's strong and all, but a big brother, that's like, it's hard to avoid a giant drill.
Right.
Words to live by. It's hard to avoid a giant drill. So Faith her mind is apparently very active in this coma. And she's like, she dreams a lot in this episode. I think it's kind of a little weird, right? Another dream. I forget how many dreams she has total. Another, she's like out with the mayor and they're having like a picnic.
Right, because that happened all the time.
Right, because they did that. And then Buffy comes in and just like shanks him in the back. Obviously, Faith has some repressed feelings about Buffy.
I don't know how repressed they are.
Right, they're way down deep under the surface. So the big reveal in this is that Faith she comes out of her coma.
Yeah, just pops right out of it.
Holy crap!
We've seen how quickly Buffy can overcome things that should really later in this episode she's knocked out and she comes to, and the guys that are with her are like, oh my gosh, I want this girl's constitution, she's amazing. And I think there's probably something about Slayer that will keep you from staying in a coma for very long as well.
Right. Faith at that point had been in a coma for like 6 months, maybe. something like that.
Something like that. And she springs up and she's fine. Like she doesn't have any atrophied muscles or anything. She's just like, I gotta go.
Right, that was a little unbelievable. Yeah, and she just steals the clothes from some poor girl who's like lost. It's like, do you know how to find whatever? And no. And when they so they reveal that the nurse, like, she has a permanent nurse who's like got like connected to the Watchers Council or something. She's talking to the cops about, you know, this girl who the police were also watching because, you know, she like killed people.
Right.
She explains like, yeah, she got out of here somehow, and she stole some clothes from a girl, and she says something like, she was beat up like very badly. So Faith didn't just steal someone's clothes; she also just kicked the crap out of a random girl.
She probably lands a couple punches, and you might have some broken bones. I mean, that's how strong these girls are.
Slayer punch, it's, you know.
Slayer punch.
Slayer punch. Kapow. Yeah. So. At that point, we also know that the Watchers Council is aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And she taunts Buffy. She clearly... The
Scooby Gang gets the heads up that Faith is gone. And they're like, I wonder where in the world she could be. And she just waits for Buffy and Willow to show up at college.
Yeah, she taunts her about Angel, and it's like she wants to get into a fight with Buffy. And she wants to... She's out in the open. I found this all very, very confusing. Like, the cops are after you. There's probably something going on with the Watchers. Buffy is she's a force to be reckoned with. And you're gonna go out in broad daylight and try and get Buffy to fight with you?
I don't think this is out of character for Faith.
It's just like,
it might be stupid and brash and everything, but I think that is the character that Faith is.
Yeah, I mean, she eventually gets a plan, but at this point she has no plan.
No.
Her plan is
as far as she knew until she took that woman's clothing, she thought she woke up on the same day. She was like, it seemed like everything should be the same, so she's just ready to go still.
Right, she thought it was graduation. She was trying to find the school. And this is Faith being Faith. She's like the Joker in The Dark Knight. You know, she's a dog chasing cars. She wouldn't know what to do with one if she caught it.
Yeah.
But then eventually she does get a plan. We don't know exactly what it is until the very, very end of the episode. But we have this surprisingly touching moment between her and a recording of the mayor.
If you're watching this, I'm dead.
It's funny because Faith's only normal relationship was with, you know, a big giant snake demon, which is supposed to be funny. But it was touching, you know, to see her, the only thing that was sort of normal for her, to kind of be reminded of that, and to have that kind of father figure kind of thing. They also pull off father figure pretty well in a way that doesn't make you also think too much of, you know, like, anything romantic. They're obviously very fond for each other, but, you know,
it's kind of like a mentor kind of relationship.
Right. That can
evil
sometimes
mentor.
Be hard to write. An evil mentor. That can sometimes be hard to write, and hard to execute, and they pulled it off pretty well. So she's got something from the mayor. Some little box. A draconian katra.
Yeah, good name.
Yeah.
Thank you, Buffy Mythos people who came up with that.
Right. Katra, you know, is, you know, spirit, soul, something, and so this does something with your soul. And what does it do? Well, it's something draconian. Something bad.
See, it makes sense. Perfect sense.
5 by 5. We haven't seen Joyce in a long time, and that's in my notes that, hey, there's Joyce. We haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I kind of started thinking about that as this season went on. I was like, Buffy's away at college. Does that mean we're just never going to see Joyce again? And it turns out it might be a little point of contention with Joyce and Buffy because, sure enough, Buffy's not stopping by, not calling, not, you know, saying what's up.
Yeah, and this is just more Buffy just burning down her relationships because she doesn't know how to deal with college. I'm pretty sure in the first episode they say that, you know, University of California Sunnydale is like 5 minutes from her house.
Yeah, it is.
Really close.
Right.
So it's not like she's in New York or something. She's close. She just hasn't come home very frequently. So that was something I thought. I was like, oh, Joyce, we haven't seen you in a long time. Also, this was the episode. I'm pretty sure this was gonna happen. You know, everyone knew this from the get-go, but this was the episode where I really started thinking, ooh, Riley's gonna die.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like things are going too well between him and Buffy, and he can't be in the show forever, and Joss really likes killing people, and I was like, he's gonna die. Maybe not this episode, maybe not in the next episode, but he's gonna bite it. And I was like, oh, man.
He's too idealistic.
He's too good.
Yeah.
He's too good to live. So my final note for this episode is all capital letters. They switched.
They did. They did a Freaky Friday moment.
Yes. So apparently the Draconian Katra allows you to switch your consciousness, switch your soul, switch something with somebody else. So Faith's plan was follow Buffy. Buffy is at, Joyce's house. She breaks in and they fight, and she uses this device, and the police show up and they take away Faith because Faith is a wanted criminal.
Right.
But she's used this device, and we don't know exactly what's happened. And Joyce asks something to Buffy, like, "Hey, are you okay?" Or whatever. And she says 5 by 5, which is Faith's sort of. It's her thing. It's what she says.
She said it one time, and then Willow reminded us that she says things like 5 by 5, just to make it clear later, like, oh, 5 by 5, I get it.
Right. It's like room 314 or whatever the room is.
Right.
This episode had to kind of be. It's not very exciting. It wasn't. I didn't think it was anything to write home about. They just really needed to set up the next episode.
They needed to set up a Joss Whedon episode.
Exactly, and this was a very, very, very Joss Whedon episode. Not only just the way that it plays out, but also he wrote it and he directed it.
If our favorite episode of the season so far had been Hush, it was probably because of the gimmick. I feel like this is an episode that is one of those Joss wrote it episodes. Like, this is just full of incredible direction and all of the dialogue that you come to love and expect from Joss.
Definitely. So, no, I don't want to poo-poo Michael and Doug with this year's girl, but it sort of pales in comparison to Who Are You, which is the 16th episode of Buffy, and it starts out with an awesome beginning. I love some of the beginnings of these episodes in the 4th season are just so clever, and I love them. The beginning for Who Are You is Buffy. So how do we want to handle? Do we just want to call them by their physical person or by who is inside?
I think we should call them by who's inside, especially because, and I don't know if you noticed, on the credits it says Eliza Dushku as Buffy.
I didn't notice that.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird. Well, yeah, okay. So Faith in Buffy's body. I promise I won't keep doing that. Faith is sort of trying out Buffy's body, right? She's like kicking the tires, as
right?
It were.
Exactly.
She's
it kind of sets up the whole rest of the episode because she's suddenly not only in Buffy's body, but she is Buffy. Like, everyone treats her like Buffy, and everyone expects the things of Buffy that she would normally do.
Exactly. So it starts out. It's Sarah Michelle Gellar just direct to camera, sort of making faces and pulling at her cheeks. And,
I gotta say, Sarah Michelle Gellar doing Faith is amazing.
She's really good as Faith.
It is amazing to watch her do Faith.
We move from that to Tara and Willow.
Mm-hmm.
Are they at the Bronze?
Yes.
Yes, they're at the Bronze. And see, I'm telling you, that it's just been building and building to this. Tara says, your friends don't even know I exist. It's like, Willow, you gotta open up the door on this closet. You gotta let somebody in. This is just like, it's just not working at all. Like, you can tell, like, Tara is miserable. level that she's not fully a part of Willow's life, and it's just like, you guys, something's gonna happen, and something does happen in this episode. And there's this weird dynamic that Joss is playing with between using the closet as a metaphor. It's not just that that Willow and Tara are hiding what's going on, but in a lot of ways Willow is protecting Tara and trying to keep her at a distance. It's kind of like what Buffy does. But like hiding their relationship and making things awkward and making things, being, somewhat emotionally distant is protection. But, I think Tara has proved that, she's more than proved that she, she can be trusted to be a part of the group. So I was just like, come on, just like kiss and tell everybody that you're in love with each other. Like, be a part of the group and don't hide in the closet. So
now it seems like the perfect opportunity to introduce her to Buffy.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Right? Perfect time.
That's what just. Oh, jeez. And this is one of those. I've mentioned this before, that they always go in a different direction with Tara from the direction that you would think. And this is just perfect. This is a perfect example of that. So Faith is introduced to Tara. Willow is so excited, and it's like, oh, I want you to meet this friend of mine. And Tara is very excited too. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be a part of your life. And Faith is just like, oh, hey, what up? What up?
What's up?
And she very immediately figures out that that they are romantically attached.
It takes her about 2 seconds.
She knows right away.
Willow walks away. She's like, I'll go get drinks. And what did she say? It's like, so Willow's not driving stick anymore.
Yes, that was the line I was trying to
Something that Buffy would never say.
Willow's not driving stick anymore. Yeah, so she would never say that, but Tara doesn't know that. Exactly. Like, she's interacted with Buffy, so she knows that that's like not an appropriate reaction from Buffy, but in any other show, if they had done this, Tara would have just been devastated and like run away and hid, and Willow would be like, what happened? And then that's how they would have figured stuff out. But Tara, in character, just like her character, she totally takes that in stride, and instead of getting upset, her first reaction, her first instinct is, something's wrong with Buffy. I don't think that that's Buffy.
Yeah, everything she's heard from Willow, even if it is secondhand, does not match this person that she was expecting to meet.
Exactly. So I love that. I love that.
The worst thing that really happens to Tara is her stutter gets about 10 times worse.
Yeah, it's too bad. That's too bad. So that's how Joss and in the writing, that's how we get the reveal, which I thought that was a very clever way to do it, and interesting to boot. So Faith is sort of living Buffy's life, which means that she has this boyfriend, and Riley cheats on Buffy, even though he doesn't really know that he's cheating
right
on Buffy, which I thought was just like, oh no. That's terribly awkward.
It's really interesting when she shows up, and basically, if you watch the earlier seasons that we have not discussed, you see her have sex with Xander, and the way that she handles sex it's very role play-y and like very dom and sub. And so when she walks in to Riley's room and starts like playing this character, like, how do you want me? He's like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? I just want to make love to my girlfriend. Why are you acting like this? And you see her like all of a sudden like, oh, I'm allowed to just do that, to just be simple, and I don't have to be a character.
Right. Well, and for us and for Riley, Buffy, it's sort of like the characters in the Harry Potter books, right? She's not very sexually experienced because she's mostly just been fighting demons all her life. And she's actually, like thinking back to season 2, she's kind of sexually repressed in a lot of ways. And she is not very comfortable all the time thinking sexually. And her and Riley didn't have sex for like a month or something. Like they dated for a while before they had sex.
Which seemed fine with Riley, that good Iowa boy.
Yeah. And yeah, Riley is also sexually repressed, and we find out in this episode is like a good Christian too. To boot, I've been using to boot like too much.
I was just late to church.
I was just late to church. I love that. I love that he goes to church. By the way, that's great. So there, you just kind of know like Riley and Buffy in the bedroom are probably pretty. You know, what's a good
vanilla?
Vanilla, yes, vanilla. They're not like exploring their kinks and whatever. They don't have any. So that's a clue immediately to Riley that something's going on here. And the fact that he wasn't like 100% sure that something was going on makes me question like his ability to read people. It's like, really? You had sex with this girl and you couldn't realize that there was something, you know, pretty off about her? Sorry, Agent Finn. You should have. you missed that part of training, I guess. Yeah, and you're totally right about the whole roleplay stuff with Faith, and I think that you know, for her character, sex is something that you do to get things that you want.
Yeah.
And it's not like something that you share with somebody that you love. So that's very the look on her face when he's like, "Hey, can we just like sleep with each other?" She's like, oh, people do that.
I've never thought of that before.
You can have sex just to be close to somebody. Okay, I guess I'll try that. And also, I have a specific note. Faith is really good at the dirty talk. And like wearing those clothes, and you get the like up the upper backside shot. It's like, holy crap.
Yep, she is. That is the kind of creature she is.
I have a note here. Oh, hey, it's Adam. We haven't seen Adam in
right. This guy.
Oh, it's Adam. Yeah, that's right. He was in the initiative and stuff. Oh, okay.
This is his big speech, right? This is the one where he's like, "I have a purpose.
Yes.
I am a monster.
I gotta be myself and say I had a note on this. Why were the vampires not afraid of him?
Because
why were they not afraid of him?
I don't know. That one was so ballsy. He was like, "This is our crypt, man," and he's talking to like an 8-foot tall bionic man.
Right, and it just a couple episodes ago, Ethan Rayne was like, "Yeah, everybody's like really creeped out by this Room 314 thing," and he's talking about the vampires and demons and stuff that we hear about at the beginning of of the intro every week. Why are they not afraid of him? Why are they so ballsy? What
maybe these are the stupid ones. These are the Three Stooges of vampires.
I don't know. I thought it was lazy and sloppy that they weren't afraid of him. But whatever.
They were soon enough.
They were, because does he kill one of them?
Yes, he decapitates one. Decapitation is also a problem.
Decapitation is also a problem. That's right. So yeah, he has this big speech. It's very insightful. It's one of those things. He is.
It's a very existential speech.
Yeah, and it reminds me like of Ash's speech in Alien, that Adam is pure will to dominate and kill. That is his purpose. His purpose in life is to kill people, and the fact that he understands that makes him very powerful. He doesn't have any baggage, right?
Right.
And he's actually a very insightful character. He says he's like, "I'm simple and stupid," but he's actually not. He's very insightful. His insight into the vampires is, "You fear death because you're immortal," and I'm like, whoa, that's quite an insight to have. And to get into the vampire psychology so effortlessly is impressive.
I wonder whose brain he ended up with.
Well, that's a really good question, because like that had to be engineered too. I don't know.
I have no. Maybe he's got an expansion slot with the floppy drive.
Right, with a little mini disc drive.
Right.
That's right. So we skipped around this. This is where Tara gets introed to Faith, but that's why I couldn't find the "So Willow's not driving stick" anymore. So the Watchers dudes, they're hardcore.
Yeah.
The guys who pick up Faith or Buffy. They're pretty cool, I thought. We put our affairs in order ahead of time.
Right.
thing. You know,
Buffy she bluffs that she's gonna like kill one of them, and the guy's like, "Fine, kill him. That's part of the business."
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was really cool. And that's a huge threat. This is going to be a problem. Like, how Buffy has no good way to get out of this, and at this point, you know, we need Deus Ex Machina. We need somebody to help us get out of this. And it's Tara. She goes to Willow and says, "I think that Buffy isn't Buffy." And there's so many great little Joss lines in here. Willow says, "Well, how do you know?" She's like, "You know, energy flow. Plus, she was kind of mean."
I noticed that her aura was off. Also, she was a total bitch.
Exactly. It's like, you know, she knows how Buffy's supposed to act, and that's
not the way Buffy is.
Yeah. So the group kind of understands what's going on, and they're trying to go after Faith, and she's trying to skip town now.
Yeah, she bought a plane ticket on Buffy's credit card. She's got her stuff packed.
Now I'm blanking. How did the characters get back together?
Buffy strong arms her way out of the mess with the Watchers Council guys and takes their van.
Right.
And then she shows up at Giles's house, and the girls have just run in and told Giles what's going on, and then she walks in and she's like, "Giles, you have to believe me. She shows up first, and then the girls run in. She has this great scene where she has to convince Giles that it's her, and she's so good at looking like Buffy in Eliza Dushku's body. Like, there's something about her face. Like, she's like, "Can't you just look in my eyes like the way I looked in yours and see that it's me?" And then the girls run in, and she's like, "Willow, it's me." And they're like, "Yeah, I know. Tara told me. By the way, this is Tara."
Yeah,
and she's like, "Nice to meet you."
That's perfect. And then I think they see on the news that there's something going down with the church.
The church.
And
so does Faith, who is at the airport about to vacate. And I thought it was really interesting. Faith is going through all these things, being treated like Buffy. She shows up at the airport to skip town in Buffy's clothes.
Right.
Why? Why isn't she in, like, sexy leather whatever like she always wears? Why did she all of a sudden she wants to look like Buffy now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I maybe she wants to try out life as a good person.
I really think that's what we were seeing her get a glimpse of, like life as a person when people treat you well and you act selflessly because you want to. She rescues that one girl outside of the Bronze, and the girl's like, "Thank you," and she's like, "Yeah, whatever," and she's like, "No, I thank you," and she's like, "You're welcome." Like, she's not used to getting this kind of treatment from people.
Right.
That's what Buffy gets every day. Buffy is selfless, and she gets thanks and gratitude, and that's the way she operates.
Right. Yeah. So, this was a learning experience for Faith. It's also a learning experience for Buffy, because Buffy, quite frankly, has been treating everybody like crap. Not like willfully, wantonly being a bad person, but she gets a lot of support, and she takes it for granted.
Yes.
And being in Faith's body for a while was helpful and important for her. And I'm not sure if the showrunners and Josh planned it this way, or if the character just got out of control and started burning down all of her relationships and turning into kind of a mess, and they used this episode as a reset. I'd like to think that they had thought about this all the way from the beginning, but I know that, like in a show like this where you've kind of got like a big arc, but week to week you're just churning it out, things can like kind of go in a direction that you didn't expect. So,
like, when was the last time we showed Joyce?
Exactly. So, regardless, this was helpful for Buffy, and it was also helpful for Faith. Faith wants to be a hero. She goes to the church. Riley's there because he's a good Iowan and goes to church, apparently.
Yep.
And the vampires are there. So Adam has convinced them, like, you're afraid of religion. Because you're afraid of the afterlife, and you're afraid of death because you're immortal, and you have all these conflicted feelings, and you need to just go out and be chaotic with me. He his knowledge is a gift. He calls it a gift that he was created to kill, and he sort of understands himself in like this like bare existence kind of way. And he's trying to. It seems like he's trying to make like a cult of evil people, and this is sort of like
the Adamites or something.
Yeah, and this is their big first move. We're gonna go to a church and we're gonna like kill people, and we're gonna be sacrilegious, and we're not gonna be afraid of crosses, and we're gonna let the world know that we're vampires, and you better be afraid of us, and we're just gonna kill y'all.
It's too bad they aren't still afraid of sunlight, because unlike some of the other things, that really does kill them.
Right.
Maybe they shouldn't take a church in the middle of the day, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that was probably foolish, although unexpected. Right.
Right.
So it's a good one-time use tactic.
True.
But it is sort of like a one-time use. Like it's sort of like Hannibal going over the Alps to invade Rome. It's a very high risk but potentially high reward move. It's to do something unexpected.
And unfortunately, you have 2 Slayers and 1 initiative soldier responding to the scene. It's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, it doesn't work out for them at all. Faith and Riley both dispatch a vamp each, and then Buffy shows up, she shows up, but she's Faith. She looks like Faith, and he's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, what are you doing?" Like,
she says, like, "How many are in there?" And he's like, "Well, it's... Wait, who are you?" Like, he's ready to explain. No, wait, why do you know that I know?
Right. So they're trying to get in there, and once again, Giles is my favorite character. He has one of the best lines ever, and his delivery is just so perfect. The police are like, "You guys can't go in there," Buffy is like, "You guys need to create a distraction so I can like go around the side and get in." So she's like sneaking around, and Giles is trying to like get the cops' attention, and he's like, "No, you have to let us in there. You don't understand. Our families are in there, and babies, tiny
babies." And he just starts like waving his arms in the air and jumping up and down. It's totally absurd.
Oh my god, I loved that so much. That was so awesome. So they fight, they switch back bodies.
I like that they made the body switch back pretty normal. It wasn't like a long, difficult sequence. It was just like she grabbed her hand and it was like, boom, you're back.
Yeah, so they switch back. Faith gets arrested. And
does she get? I thought she ran. She ran. She ran.
I thought she got arrested. Okay.
No, she as soon as she didn't even try and fight. As soon as she was back in her body, she was like, "I am out of here," and she ran.
Skips town. And then we have a little bit at the end of real Buffy in her body with Riley, and she's kind of upset that he had sex with somebody else, even though it wasn't somebody else.
Imagine the therapy that's going to come out of that.
Yeah, I mean, this episode, it's right here on the Wikipedia, but this is rife for lots of philosophical analysis. I have quotation marks around that because this is not sort of the type of philosophy that I'm super interested in. But it's very. This episode gets referenced a lot in classes dealing with existentialism and Sartre and the look. You can look this stuff up on Wikipedia. I kind of think it's whatever. But
what, French?
The French, the look.